So, welcome everyone. This is episode 12 of Quarantine, Fitness and Life. Most of us have now been in lockdown for well over 12 to 10 weeks. Some people might be 12, and it's a crazy situation for us all, but this is why I've created this sort of like live chat so we can really help people understand what they can do in terms of the physical fitness during this time, as there's people that can't access gyms, but also to deal with other things about lockdown as well in terms of like struggles that people are facing, and just to have a real chat about it and really to help each other out. So this is why I have my my friend here and guest today to sort of help us with this. So I just want to quickly pass over to you to introduce yourself, say what you do and where you're from, and then we can get cracking.
Yep, so I'm Jason. People call me JB, J. So you got to represent where you're from. Being a personal trainer on my 4th year now. Men's physique champ. Team. Got my pro card as well, so that was a proud moment, to be fair. Been training for 10 years now. It's been enough for 10 years, but realistically it's been like 5-6 years consistent. Wanted to be a footballer like most guys. Suffered with a lot of injuries, so I was forced, out of the game early. Then I was doing finance and accounts for like 10 years. Yeah, a long time. So it's a big switch from football to finance and accounts. Then I became a personal trainer. I was doing that part-time whilst I was still working and studying as an accountant. But then I thought I need to get back to my roots. So I literally just made the switch. I got made redundant, and then I just became full-time. And the rest is history, as I say.
Yeah, and I think we'll actually delve into sort of what you've said there, making those sort of switches, because I think that's going to be very important for people to understand that we need to follow our passions in life if we want to live the sort of best lives that we can. So just make a quick note about this here. So sort of with that, I just wanted to really sort of like ask you, what have you been doing really to sort of like keep yourself sort of physically active, and also your clients as well? Because especially in the UK, we've not been able to have access to gyms for quite a long time now. So
yeah, I've basically been doing Zoom workouts, one-to-ones. That's been like very effective. I've been doing live workouts. That's pretty much every Monday, Thursday, 2 p.m. That's like a HIIT style kind of workout, but I do a bit of core in there as well. And now I've recently started going to the park as well. So hands are untied for a bit now. So I've been doing one-to-one sessions. So it's been working out good there. I've done yoga as well. Yoga, a bit of meditating as well. Been helping a lot. Big switch over. Yeah.
So, you said there that you've done like things like HIIT training and sort of a core work. Is that the type of thing that you think that a lot of people can really switch their focus to during this time, especially people who are maybe used to sort of like doing weight training at the gym? Do you find that as being something that's been effective for you, yet alone your clients?
I think 100%. I think the good thing with the HIIT training is it's body weight, isn't it? So you can do burpees, jumping squats, and you only need a small area. You don't need like a massive gym. Like a lot of the time I do it in my living room where I'm now, or the garden or the park. But it's very effective, as you know, like for like to strip fat. Very, very effective. Like when I was in the competitions, I used to do like sessions, 10 minutes every morning fasted, and that would obviously like help to strip the fat. Obviously you need to have a good diet as well. But overall it's very effective.
Yeah, no, 100% agree with that. And even me myself, not been able to hit the gym, but for me, it's been pretty much body weight exercises. That's really how I've had to train, and I've actually been thriving with it. So what do you really say to people that feel that they can't really work out without gym equipment because they're just so used to being able to lift sort of heavy weight or just use sort of like machines to like get their workouts done? What would you sort of say to them?
To be fair, it's just about coming out of your comfort zone. Because realistically, I've been training. I've done about 4 or 5 weighted sessions, believe it or not, since we've been locked down. So I haven't lifted much weights. So I've had to change my routine myself. And when I just speak to my clients and they can see that I'm still in shape and it's working, then it helps them to basically switch over as well.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think people like ourselves, I suppose that really does sort of like show that how much it can actually work. And we're not just saying it in the sense of going, oh, well, just make the best of the situation because we don't have sort of like gym equipment. Because when we do really think of it, before gyms were around, people were still in shape. People were still able to develop muscle mass, you know, and I think this is what people really forget, that being able to actually control your own body and to actually move your own body is not an easy thing. I mean, even look at people talk about pull-ups, press-ups. They're not really that easy, are they?
No, they're not.
They're not. You know, and that's when people can actually do them. They actually, it's almost like a seminal moment for them. It's like a moment where they feel proud that they've been able to like do push-ups or do pull-ups. So we need to sort of get away from the fact that these are almost ineffective workouts because we're used to moving weight at the gym, you know? Yeah. And do you feel that being able to do these workouts, do you feel that they're still able to maintain the sort of muscle mass you have during this sort of time that you can't access the gym?
I think to a certain degree, but a lot of it will be genetics as well. That's going to play a part. As you know, you could have 2 people training identical, nutrition's identical, but one person's got slightly better genetics, so he or she's going to be able to hold on to more muscle. And also, it depends how you're training, the intensity. If you're like doing, let's say, 5-6 sets of, say, 20 to 25 push-ups and you're having 2-3 minutes rest between each set, it's probably a bit too long. If you cut in the rest period down, even to 20 seconds, you know, feel that intensity burn, it's going to make a difference.
Yeah, and I think that's actually a really great point that you really raised there. Now that we're not in the gym, we really need to actually look at how do we make our workouts intense, because it's intensity as well as weight that actually produces muscle growth, and not just that, produces really fat burning as well, but also actually gives us a really good workout. So we need to make our workouts intense. Jason just gave a great example of reducing rest periods. That's something that I do a lot as well. When the fact that obviously I train at home now, so my rest periods are very short. So I'm actually making the most of every rep that I'm doing. So that's a great example. And that again is why you do your sort of high intensity sort of training, isn't it?
Yeah, because you know, also with the HIIT, you can do it in a short amount of time. You only need like 20. Whereas sometimes we get used to training for hours on end. Like when I speak to different people, predominantly bodybuilders, they'll be like, yeah, train for 2-3 hours. It may work for them, but for me, I train my clients for an hour. I train myself around an hour as well, 45 minutes an hour, more intense. Don't mess about, in and out, get the job done, and that's it, you know.
And I think that's the thing. It's about being effective and efficient. I think that's a really good point, because I think a lot of people will think, all right, well, I need to train every day, you know, I need to get my workouts. But really, it's a case of doing things efficiently. If you can get your workouts done in an hour, you don't even need to train every single day. You could train 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. So when you do come to think of it, even if it's an hour that the workout is, if it's just 3 days per week you're doing, that's 3 hours. If it's 4 days, then 4 hours, five. So it's like, really, it's not something that should be overly taxing in terms of the time spent. Would you agree?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I think three times a week for my clients, that's like the golden number for me. Yeah. That works, because at the end of the day, they're not trying to compete. So I've got to remember as well, when I'm training them, guilty of probably pushing them too far, like they're about to go on stage. They don't want to go on stage, so they don't need to train 6 days. And a lot of the clients will come to me and they haven't trained for 3 years. So they don't need to go straight to 5-6 days, 2 or 3 days, more than enough. Even just changing your eating habits, That's
Yes.
a massive difference before we've even stepped in the gym already.
Yeah. And I suppose with that, because you really did bring up the importance of nutrition, it's something that everyone will sort of will know in terms of fitness or nutrition, but I don't think people really give it the true actual respect and power that it deserves. I mean, you briefly talked about it there, but I would actually go on record in saying I would prefer someone that has really good nutrition versus someone that goes to the gym and doesn't have good nutrition.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And I've come across that as well, where the clients come to me and I said, do you need help with your nutrition? I've got nutrition plans, or I can just talk you through and walk you through. And then they're like, no, I'm fine. Got my nutrition on point. I still check it because I can't just say, yeah, you've said it's something what they're having. But once I check it and they are following the plan and they're eating fine, I've only really got to focus on the training. And that's the easy part then, really. That's easy. They've taken care of the nutrition. They come in, train hard. We get the results slowly but surely. But if the nutrition is bad, and then especially if they're not consistent with the training as well, it's a tricky one. Yeah,
and as someone who, because Jason, he won the men's physique last year for UKUP, which is a competition that I was in as well, with different categories. So you being a champion there, to get into the condition that you got to, and what we're talking about isn't necessarily for everyone to try and get into that condition, but it's just for people to understand how important was your nutrition to actually being able to make that achievable versus the amount of training.
The nutrition, it's literally the staple, literally, because the calories, everything's got to be to a T. If it was, let's say, 300 grams of carbs per day, it can't be 310 or 350 or 260. It's got to be 300 on the dot. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, you step on stage and you think to yourself, was I following the plan to the T? Like, did I do my best? And if you've done your best and you've beaten on the day, that's fair enough. But if you know in your heart you was having cheat meals when you coach, like you're self-coach, which is great, but I had a coach, so if I was having cheat meals and I weren't telling him, he's scratching his head thinking, why isn't he leaner? We've been following the plan. So it's key. Like, I can't stress it. You need to stick to the plan.
Yeah, and that hopefully does sort of like show people that if the training is good, it's great that we go and do that. That's maybe the part people enjoy, but this is why we need the training part of, I mean, the nutrition part of it as well. They all go hand in hand, and that is together what gives us the package of that end result. So it needs to be having the training, the nutrition, and I'm sure you agree, rest and recovery.
That's it. Yeah, that's the package.
If you have that, then you're sort of golden. No, good stuff there. So, I mean, so you talked about what you've been able to do sort of like during lockdown, sort of keep yourself sort of active. But I mean, what sort of things have you sort of been missing in terms of with lockdown happening? I mean, fitness-wise and sort of like life-wise as well.
Probably more just socialising, to be fair. I'm the type of, I like doing my own thing as well, but I like socialising as well when I feel like, you know. And just generally eating out. I like eating, so there's no restaurant open. So I you know, and actually miss training my clients in the gym. Obviously, we've got more access to equipment, and you just different angles, different areas, different body parts, which I enjoy training. So, yeah, I think just overall doing what you want to do. That it's more freedom, really. There's something you wouldn't really be doing, but because you can't do it now, it's one of those things. Like my hair now, it's just growing. It's growing. Barber, so no, but
I think that's the thing. I think it's really a case of being able to just try your best to adapt to the situation that we're in. I think now most people probably have been able to adapt as well. I mean, more so than others, but I mean, it's one of these things. I mean, Katie, I'm not sure if she's still on here. One of my followers, she sort of said it's like sort of Mental Health Week, Awareness Week, which I think is like a really sort of important thing to be happening right now, especially because of lockdown. But I mean, how important do you feel having routine is during this sort of time to sort of help with that, but then also the role that physical fitness can play with that?
I think the routine is definitely key, because without the routine, I've even been guilty of it for, let's say, the first week. You wake up at crazy times. You're not getting things done. Like I've got like a daily to-do list. Sometimes it's too big, because sometimes I put 10 things on there and I think, am I going to get this done? But I like stretching myself. I may only get 5, 6 done, but it's more than if I put a list of 3 things down. I'd rather put down and just challenge myself. So yeah, with the routine, it keeps you focused and literally it keeps you on track. It definitely helps your mental health. Because like I said, for me, if I'm a person who likes to be organized. If I'm not organized or constantly busy, I just feel like I'm wasting away. You know, some people say slow down or relax for a week, but I'm used to going 100 miles an hour. So it's got its pros and cons, because I get things done, but sometimes you can burn out, you know. So this has actually helped me, because it's given me a chance to rest now. Forced to rest my body, and that's why I've given the weights a rest. And I've been fortunate to still keep a decent amount of muscle. Obviously, I haven't got the muscle hardness, but I've still got like my physique still pretty much there with it. Yeah.
And I think that's quite an important point. I mean, I think a lot of people during this time, because they maybe can't go to the gym, they're kind of going, oh, I'm going to lose muscle. Well, if you've really built muscle, that takes time to build. So because it takes time to build, it doesn't just disappear. As you've said, the muscle hardness because of training at a gym, you know, because the muscles are pumped with blood and glycogen, so that's just the energy source in muscles. That's what gives it that sort of like look that it's just full, as we like to say in the fitness world. But when we don't train, that sort of almost deflates a little bit, but that doesn't mean we've lost muscle. It's just the muscle has deflated, almost like a balloon. The balloon's still the same size, it's just it's not got the air in it to make it bigger. But I think that was a really sort of good point that you sort of raised there. But another one sort of as well is that I liked when you said that you wake up and you put down sort of 10 things on your list. You may not achieve those 10 things, but the point is, because you've given yourself that sort of like 10 tasks, that is giving you something to challenge for. So is that right? Oh, I think we've got a bit of a connection issue here. Hopefully you're able to get back, Jason.
Let's see if I can get him back on. Had a bit of a connection issue. Sorry about this, guys. It can just happen on these Instagram lives. Hope we'll be able to join back in, because, hopefully we'll get him back on now.
There we go. I know some communication issues, which is, you know, the great thing is with technology is that, you know, it's allowing us to do things like this, which if we had this situation, let's say 10 years ago, I don't know how any of us would have really been able to survive or cope, you know. But the thing with technology is it's great when it works. But yeah, the thing that I was trying to really get out there was, like you said, that when you wake up, like you write a list out, and let's say you might have about 10 things there. You may not get those 10 things done, but the point is, because you've put that list down, it's given you like a purpose for your day, and you feel that that's where a lot of people who are maybe struggling during this time are struggling, because they're not giving themselves a purpose for their day or a goal to try to strive for that day.
Yeah, I think definitely. I speak to a lot of people, and a good amount of them actually say they haven't like written any goals down. So they tend to just freestyle and wing the day, to be fair, and then end up just binge eating or just drinking a lot, or you're on Netflix just binging out, which isn't a bad thing, but if you go fitness related, you got to make that priority, and I think not enough people make fitness a priority, you know?
Yeah, and again, it does come down to what people's sort of like individual goals are. I mean, if people are fitness orientated or they want to improve that, then as you said, it's something that we then need to take seriously, because this type of stuff doesn't just happen, you know, one overnight or just by clicking your fingers. It's something that we need to sort of be consistent with and actually make it some level of priority with what we're doing, as you said. But I suppose in terms of even other people, that in terms of just general life, I mean, having some sort of goals or some sort of idea of what you're wanting to do in the day, to have some sort of structure, do you feel that is actually sort of helpful, even in terms of just like how people can deal with this type of situation?
I think it does. I think it keeps the mind busy as well. I think once the mind's busy, get done. If you've got too much time to think, like me personally, I don't feel like I'm in isolation anymore, because I'm in my routine. I can train as much as I can. You know, it's not like we're locked in our house 24/7, and that's where a lot of people think not locked in. Like I said before, the only thing that's changed, you can't socialize as much. You can't go out to the restaurants, but you can cook up. You know what I mean? So it's not the goal and end all, to be honest. And I think because I'm doing the live sessions, and it feels like I'm actually teaching a class, so it feels like I'm back at the gym where I teach a lot of classes. You know, so for me, I'm okay with it. The first 3-4 weeks are still okay because I wanted the rest, but it's more about just adjusting my body clocks being off completely, where I'm going to bed later than usual, to be fair, anyway. But even when I try to go to bed at, let's say, 10, 11 o'clock, I'm just tossing and turning. So I'm not really in that good sleeping routine yet. So I'm working on the sleeping parts thing, but in terms of nutrition and training, it's all good. What's going on, man?
Yeah, and I think that's a really good thing you said, that you're now in a routine. So now you don't really feel like you're overly in lockdown. Yes, there's certain things like, yes, we can't go out to eat with friends or we can't socialise with friends, but that's something that we now all know we can't do. So we can't keep on stressing about it and obsessing about it, because we can't change that right now. You know, and it goes to a phrase that I like to say, that we've got to start focusing on things that we can actually control rather than things we can't control.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because if we keep on stressing about things we can't control, we're just going to make ourselves in an even more anxious and depressed state, because we can't even do anything about it. Whereas if we focus on the things in our day that we can control over, then we're giving ourselves a chance to actually just make a purpose for our day, or just actually feel better. And that's, I think, what you've been able to get out of this, because you've managed to get a routine in your day and things like that. I mean, would that be right to say?
Yeah, 100%. The routine is key. And the good thing is, the first few weeks I didn't have a routine. So I know it felt without a routine. I didn't feel good because I weren't productive. And I'm the type of person, if I have 2 days where I'm slacking, that don't sound like a lot to a lot of people. But for me, I'm quite hard on myself. I'm like, no, I can't be lying in bed till 12 or 1 o'clock anymore. And I need to get busy and start doing things.
And I think that's actually a really good point that you showed there, because what we've got to remember, guys, I mean, we're talking to a men's physique champion here. That's the type of mentality that we need to have. If we want to achieve things, we need to actually do things. I mean, we need to have this sort of like balance between things, and it's something that you said before, that a lot of times you do go 100% into things. And one good thing about this is actually giving you time to rest, but it's about, would you agree that people need to find that balance between having that time to sit and watch Netflix and to just relax, but then to actually get things done towards any goals that they've got set in terms of being fitness goals or anything else?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think the balance is that's crucial as well. Because yeah, too much of one thing is not good anyway. So yeah, it depends on what your goal is. Like, I'm not kind of on who's binging on Netflix, but if you come into me and you're complaining that you're not in shape and this and that, like regular, then I gotta say, listen, you're spending, let's say, 5 hours on Netflix and you haven't done no fitness. You've got to get that balance. You know, if you're working, I don't know, part of the media team, you may need to be on Netflix more. You know, so it depends what your goal is. But the balance is key. I think people think that we're trying to turn them into fitness addicts, which we're not. We're just trying to get that balance and get that lifestyle. So even if it's 2 or 3 times a week, that's better than nothing. And then you build from there. Like, even if you could only go to gym every Monday, you're committing a day to the gym every Monday. But if you say to yourself, I want to do 4 times a week, you might be a bit too over-ambitious and you don't manage one. It's disheartened, and then you're more than likely going to quit then because you think, I can't stick to it. So it needs to be realistic as well.
I think you've raised a point I want to sort of hit into. Do you think a lot of the times that people fail in their fitness goals is because they are overambitious, because they want to get a result quickly, so they will do things that not necessarily are detrimental? Well, I suppose they are, but in the sense of that they'll just go in the deep end. They'll, let's say, because they want to lose weight, they'll cut their calories down super low. They'll do tons of cut. Do you see what I'm coming? Do you feel that that's something that people need to sort of appreciate, that trying to go at things 100% straight away, especially if you don't know what you're doing, is very detrimental? Yeah,
it's pretty dangerous, to be fair. You literally, I always say, just slow and steady. Somebody messaged me probably about a week ago, actually, saying, I've tried online PT, I've tried this, nothing's working. I want to do some part session with you. I'm going to do 3 times a week because I want fast results. And I was like, I had to just like slow down right there, because the thing is, there's no fast results. If you go on, let's say, fly into the keto diet, just for an example. I'm not bashing the keto, by the way, I'm just using this as an example. If you go to that and you're not having no carbs, yes, you're going to lose weight quickly, but at the same time, are you going to have no carbs for the rest of your life? You're not going to be able to keep that up, are you? When you go on holiday, you got the buffet there, you're going to be binging on the food, you're not going to stick to it. So I just break things down and make it realistic. Just let's stick to 2 or 3 times a week. Let's say you're having 4 chocolate bars a week, Snickers. I wouldn't even cut it down to 0 straight away, because they're going to go cold turkey. I'd say cut it down to 3 a week. And when you slowly cut it down weights, you don't think about it, and then I'll replace that chocolate with a different craving. So and it could be anything like raisins, just something to distract them. Okay, this is sweet. You know what I mean? Don't taste exactly like chocolate, but you've got a bit of sweetness there that will distract you.
Exactly. No, I'm definitely that as well, because chocolate bars are something that I do love, but I eat a lot of fruit now, so I mean, it's just so it's finding that sort of change. But what I thought was really great about what you said there was it's about making things lifestyle. Because let's say someone does do something extreme and gets a result, they're going to need to keep on doing that extreme thing to keep that result.
There you go,
As you said, if someone cuts out carbs, are they able to do that for the rest of their life to hold what they've got? So it's about doing things in a way that's sustainable for ourselves, that fit our lifestyle and our preferences. And I think this is where people, because they want that quick result, but with a quick result means that, well, you need to keep doing the extreme thing you did. So yeah, I think that was really a sort of really good sort of like breakdown of what you of like what people really should think about there. So, and in terms of actually taking it slow, what type of things do you think people really need to sort of like factor into the nutrition and training, especially during this sort of time as well, to actually try and make this a lifestyle?
It's more, I think it's a knowledge as well. They've got to understand how their body works, how it might take 3 months for your body to adapt. So and I'm honest with my clients straight away from the get-go. If you haven't trained for, let's say, 3-4 years, you can't expect to be eating badly for being longer than 3-4 years. Let's say half of your life. You can't expect to come into the gym and 3 months to look how you want to look. It's not realistic. If you're, let's say, a former athlete, Olympic athlete, who's been training 2-3 times a day for like 15-20 years, and you've been at the game for a year, you've got a better chance of coming in and at level quicker than somebody who hasn't done anything. So it's just about understanding your body really, and learning about the right type of nutrition that works for you, because some food that may work for me may not work for you, and vice versa.
Yep. And a great example of that is, like, for example, allergies. So I'm allergic to nuts and seafood. So seafood and nuts, they're very high protein. They've got good fats for people as well, but I can't have that, you know, so I have to find other things. So this is why it's important to know that we need to understand our bodies, understand what works for us. And this is where getting that knowledge, be it from a trusted source that you find on like a social media source or a personal trainer, this is why that can really help people. But in terms of sort of what you said there, which I think was really good, that people need to appreciate their starting point. If someone was previously active, then it's obviously more likely they'll be able to get quicker results, I suppose, compared to someone that hasn't been as active for the same length of time, you know. So really, I mean, even you used yourself as an example at the start. You've been training for 10 years, but you said seriously for about 5 and 6.
Yeah.
People that want to get in shape, they need to appreciate that this is why it's a lifestyle game here, you know. Again, we're talking to a men's physique champion here, and this is what he's done. You know, he's been doing this for 10 years. So what type of thing would you sort of say to people to appreciate that this is a lifestyle thing, it's a longevity thing? It shouldn't be, I want to get in shape in 3 months. What would you sort of say to that?
I'll literally just break down and think to yourself, how long realistically are you willing to put into it? You know, end of the day, it is long term, it's not short term. So I actually built most of my physique when I was like 20, so I'm like 30 now. When I was 20, I was actually bigger than I was now, to be fair. And my physique was kind of ballooning up and down, but I never got to a stage where I went struck down fully or went massive. I was always able to maintain and keep building. But the point I'm making, that's 10 years where I'm chipping away, sculpting my body, and just kept going really. And I think people underestimate how long it takes. You can't blame some of them, because there's a lot of things on social media where you've got people selling all sorts of these slimming teas and crazy diets and pills. So I think people that they see there's a lot of confusion. They don't know what to go for. I've even had somebody message me, and I've got a PT, and they're asking me about information, asking loads of different people. You don't want to listen to too many different people, especially if you've got already. It's going to confuse you.
You know, I think you brought up a really good point there, and this is something that I sort of like to say as well. I mean, I've been doing this for 20 years, training for 20 years, and I started really taking it properly seriously in 2016, so really only properly 4 years ago. But the information that I give out, of course I check it a lot because I want it to improve myself and I want to know how to develop myself, but I don't expect people, when I speak, to just take my word for it.
Yeah.
They should go and research that themselves or speak to other people, because this is where you start to understand, is this actually proper? Is this actually real? Why should this work for me? I think we really should be starting to ask, especially now when we're in an age where there's so much information out there and a lot of it might not be great. We should be asking, why is that right? Is that something to do with?
I know what you mean. You have to question it to a certain degree. I do agree with you. You can't just exactly take the word. But I mean, once you're locked into that process and you've got a knowledgeable PT, and let's say he's giving you a plan, if you're meant to stick to the plan, and the next thing you know, they've got a completely different plan. It's, you know what I mean, you're not in the same like wavelength then. You know, it's always good to reset, but then come back to myself, and then we can talk back together. But if you've just reset it and you've gone off and done your own thing, and then I come and check in with you, like, how's it going? And you're like, oh yeah, I'm not really following the plan, I've changed it, so I've done that. Yeah. It's almost like, you know, going backwards a bit.
Yeah, and I would even go to say that anyone that has got even a personal trainer, or is even want to look for one sort of afterwards, make sure that you can ask them any question that you want, because they should be able to explain to you why that's the case. So then you can go and see. It's not a case of you trying to see if they're right or wrong. It's just so you can understand why that is right. Because as you say, it's about questions. It's about learning. I really think that's the aspect about this that people just haven't taken. That this is something we need to actually learn how it works.
Yeah, that's something you agree with? It's a long journey. At the end of the day, there's no end destination. I used to say, when I get 14 stone, I'll be happy with my physique. And then you get to 14, maybe 15, maybe 16, and you just never. It never ends, because you might switch your training from bodybuilding. You may go into yoga, and then your goals are completely different. Then you're on a new journey again.
Yeah, and I think that's a really great point that you sort of raised this, that I think we need to sort of think of a fitness journey as actually not one with an end destination, or it's a journey or race that actually has moving goalposts or moving finish lines. Because when we actually get to one goal or get close to one goal, we actually kind of maybe realise what our potential is and what we can achieve. So that makes us want to do something bigger. And I'll even use one example here, I'll even use one example here using our guest here. Your UKUP British champion. Are you going to stop now because you've got that title?
That's what I mean. You just keep going. But the funny thing is, at first, well, I'll tell you how I got into compete. Obviously, you played a big part with me competing as well. So I remember I asked you about the competitions and the posing. I think this was a few weeks before my first competition in Milton Keynes. I remember I didn't know about UKUP or anything like men's physique. I literally got headhunted on Instagram. A few federations messaged me and said, yeah, you look good, jump on stage. And I agreed to do it, but I didn't give myself enough time, to be fair. So anyway, I found UKUP just by chance. It was just at a later date, and then started researching, and then I think I found your Instagram, and just started networking myself. Spoke to Shredded with Simon as well. Tim Hunt, I think you probably know as well.
I know Tim,
Yeah. And there's another guy, I think it was TC Fit, I believe. I think he's been at UKU. So, yeah, you guys played a big part in my journey, because, like I said, I had no clue about posing and any of that. So it was an interesting journey, to be fair. You know, very interesting.
And I think you've again, that's another great point to sort of raise here in terms of this sort of like chat we're having. How important is it that when you're doing something new or doing something you're not getting the progress that you're liking, that you do reach out for assistance?
It's very important. At the end of the day, like, we're professionals, not even in a big-headed way, but we've studied all the different topics. We've done our own research, and we use ourselves as almost a guinea pig, trial and error. Like, I've used so many different training techniques. I'm thinking that doesn't quite work. I can kind of write that. So when a client comes to me, I can just lead them down the right path that I believe is right, because I've been there. You know, instead of, a lot of them would say, yeah, do 2-3 sets. Sometimes I throw them into the deep end. I say, we're doing 4 or 5 sets today. You know, and they're like, well, that's a lot, but towards 4 or 5 sets isn't that much. Sometimes we do 8 or 9 sets, you know, a lot of volume. So yes, it's key that they use us, to be honest, to so we can provide the knowledge.
Yeah, and really sort of from that as well. I mean, it's because, like, for instance, you said that when you were starting your journey in even sort of competition, you sort of reached out to me and other people, but that guidance and knowledge helped you then become now a professional athlete with UKUP. So I suppose what I'm getting from that and what you've sort of explained as well is this is why it's so important if we're struggling or we don't know what we're doing and really wanting to actually get to that end result, that we just get that sort of help from people that can help us and give us like that type of knowledge. I mean, none of us have got to where we've got to without getting help from anyone else. So I think that's a key thing that I suppose people need to sort of like appreciate. And that even goes for lockdown as well. If anyone's struggling in terms of even lockdown, you know, in terms of the fact that they're not able to see their friends and things like this, I mean, you've just got to like call people, you know, reach out, because we are sort of all in this situation together. I think this is where people like myself and Jason, it's like, this is why I'm doing these lives. This is why you're doing your sort of like hit workouts on Instagram Live, because I think it's a period where we've all got to do our best to try and help each other out in the best ways that we can. And for me, that's in terms of doing these chats, and sometimes I put up sort of like exercises, or I do like sort of like posts on sort of like motivation mindset, and you're doing your sort of like things on sort of like your hit workouts. But how important do you feel it is that people reach out and people like us actually do our best to try and help as many people as possible?
I think it's key, to be fair, because I think a lot of people are struggling more than we can imagine. I think even though me may be dealing with it better than everyone else, and I think that comes from that kind of competitive kind of mindset and that discipline. You know, like, we'll look at this as more probably as a more of an opportunity rather than fear, because we can really, you know, some areas that we've been putting off because we've been busy, we can now focus on those areas, whether that's fitness wise, little things like you may not be doing your core as much as you should have been, or you may not be doing your stretches. We've got time to correct those things now. So for me, I just spend my time working on weak areas, whether it's on the business or physically on my body. So I've always got things to do. But for a lot of people, they haven't always got a lot of things to do. So they tend to just bored. And when you're bored, you tend to just comfort eat and fill up that way. Once you've got the snacks and it's like this, what, Friday night, you're like, chocolate there. You're not really thinking about the gym. You think you lose hope because we don't know when the gyms are open. So people are like, what's the point? We might as well just eat now and just hope for the best kind of thing. But if they really like us, then we can help them. And you know what I mean? And I think the workouts, that's giving people the focus, because they know now every Monday and Thursday I'm training. So if I'm training Mondays or Thursdays, I don't want to be, you know what I mean, eating too much junk the day before. You know, so they're going to think about their nutrition a lot more. So with that,
do you think then that physical fitness is something that really can help sort of stop this sort of destructive behaviour? Because you've said it there that people have talked about, or might think that, well, I used to go to the gym, gyms are shut now, so there's no point. Or people that may have been wanting to start getting into a gym, thinking, oh, the gyms are shut, so there's no point in me starting. Do you think having some sort of routine around fitness, even if it's going out for a run, even if it's even looking at your sort of like hit workouts, do you feel that that's so important to keep them away from the temptations that you've talked about there in terms of it's Friday, they just go, well, I've not really got anything to do, so I'll just like get loads of beers or whatever and just like get a Domino's pizza, get my stuff. Do you think having that type of structure helps them make better choices?
I think definitely. I think with the structure, especially when you're consistent and you stick to it, eventually, when I use the word eventually, you start seeing results. And once you start seeing results, that Mars bar Snickers don't look that appealing anymore. That's what got me into this situation in the first place. So now, because I've seen results, I don't really buy snacks now and again, but not regular. Like back in the day, I would have a snack drawer, but now I'm like, what's the point? Because I know now what the snacks, what it does to my body, and it's not good. So I don't really need to be putting it into my body like on a frequent basis. Maybe once a month, I might buy the odd chocolate, or even if you buy like a miniature chocolate rather than a whole big bag. You know what I mean? More moderation. But I know deep down it's no good for me.
Yeah, and what you said there goes back to something that you said earlier on in this live, and it was pretty much that too much of anything is bad.
Yeah,
it's about having that moderation. You even explained it as well when you talked about your clients, how, let's say, someone generally would have, let's say, 4 chocolate bars in the week. To lower that down to 3 is enough.
Yeah.
As you said, once you start seeing results, they might not go back to 4 because they're going, well, I now see what this is actually about. Let's see what happens if I actually have 2 now instead of having.
Yeah.
That's why it's about taking that small, steady approach, because the problem is, as humans, we are not good with change. And I think this situation really shows that. But the thing is, if we just do small changes that we can handle, just like you said, there's someone's having their 4 chocolate bars a week. Don't just go down to 0.
Yeah.
Go down to 3. But then the thing is, we're using the chocolate bars, just an example. This could be anything. You want to try and work out, start with 1 day, then move on to 2. Or if you're starting with 2, then you move on to 3. You don't need to start at 7 days. I mean, I don't even train 7 days a week. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it is. A lot of people think I train 6-7 days, and the reason I don't, like, for me, the sweet spot is 4 days is good for me.
That's what I do.
That's been my routine. The days are different now, but before it used to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, and that was perfect. Because I had a few days in between, one day in between to recover, apart from obviously Friday and Saturday. But then I had the Sunday, so it just spaced that just nice, and I felt like I was just resting just right. And when I was training, I was still like quite fired up. But sometimes when you overtrain or train too much, your muscles are still fatigued and you can't get that good workout. Because let's say you've been doing bench press Monday and you try and do another heavy chest workout on Tuesday, no good.
Yeah. No, because in the end of the day, and it's a phrase that I like to say, the body can only grow from what it can recover from.
Yeah.
So if we're not giving the body any recovery time, you're not going to get the growth. And I think that's the thing. A lot of people kind of say, "Oh, I train all the time. Why am I not growing?" Well, there's the answer. Where are you giving the body time to recover?
Yeah.
And that's even before looking into their nutrition. Are they even eating enough? So this is the thing. Yes, is this whole thing complicated? Yes and no. It's as complicated as you make it. But we need to understand basic things first, and that's what people need to get at. And I suppose before to sort of close out, what key basic things, let's say 3 or 4 basic things, do you think people really need to think about, especially in lockdown, if they want to prove their physical fitness, that they need to sort of make sure they start to try to nail down? Again, it's not that they need to do this instantly, but things they need to try and really nail down in their sort of days to really make some progress.
Well, I think discipline, that's a massive thing. Not a lot of people have discipline, to be honest, because even when I said to somebody before, when they said, "What are you eating?" I was like, "Pizza." They go, "You eat pizza?" Like, the literally thing, just eat chicken and broccoli every day.
Yeah.
But I'm able to eat pizza, so people have got discipline, consistency. That's key as well, because if you're not consistent, you haven't given your body a chance to go through the process, basically.
Yeah.
Give yourself a chance. Just give yourself a chance. People think it hasn't worked. How long have you been doing it for? 6 weeks. Give it 6 months, see what happens. 6 months, and see what happens. And the third one, I'll say, just try and keep your motivation high. So can use people like ourselves, like we're pretty active most days or every day on social media. That's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, even my stories, I'm everywhere. So there's no reason why you shouldn't be motivated, because you can just put your social media on and just watch what we do, and we'll give you stuff that'll keep you motivated. We'll tell you our journeys, because I think people like hearing about your journey, because we didn't just wake up and we're in this position.
Yeah, definitely.
We've learned from other people. I've learned from yourself. You've probably learned from other people. We both probably got mentors. So, like you said, we can't do it by ourselves. So we need to have people around us that will keep you motivated. Because I'm not motivated every single day. But then when I see people being motivated, I think to myself, we're all in the same situation. So it kind of fires me back up there. I'm thinking they're making the best of it, and I'm a bit not feeling like it today. So I'm not too harsh on myself. I might give myself a day or two off, lick my wounds, and then we come back again.
Yeah, and I think that there are sort of three key points that, definitely people really do need to consider. I mean, with the discipline thing, I would link. Do you know what? I'd actually link all three of these things together into one little package, and you did sort of allude to it when you spoke about motivation. But it really is, we need to understand why we actually want this. Yeah,
that's a good one. Yeah. The why.
Yeah. I mean, and that's an easy thing to talk about. He says, "Oh well, I want to be in shape. I want to have that body." I mean, okay, that's all fair and well, but that's not enough to keep you consistent, is it?
No, it's not.
That's not enough to keep you disciplined.
No.
That's not enough to keep you motivated. But the thing that is enough to keep you disciplined, consistent, motivated is you understanding why the hell do you even want to do this in the first place? Why do you want to have this shape? Do you want to look better in clothes? Do you want to be sort of like fitter into your older age? Do you want to be able to have better self-confidence and realise what you can achieve in life?
Yeah.
Understanding these types of things that will then give you that discipline, because then you know why you want to even stick to this in the first place. Then that will help you to be consistent with your training and your nutrition.
That's true, yeah.
And
you're right.
then when you're struggling for motivation, and even when watching myself and Jason doesn't fire you up, which for me personally, I don't understand why that wouldn't. but even in the days where you really are struggling for motivation, you remember that reason, then that will give you that kick up the backside and reignite that fire that goes, yeah, that's why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
So do you feel that having that sort of strong reason behind wanting to do this in the first place is the glue that puts this all together, and the real reason why people struggle to actually stick to their fitness goals?
Yeah, that's a very good point, because if you know your why, that why eventually turns into habit. It's like when I feel like I'm slacking, I just automatically kick into gear. I can't physically have a week off of doing nothing. I couldn't physically just have a week where I'm just eating fish and chips from Monday to Sunday. It can't happen. I may do it Monday to Wednesday and think, okay, I'll automatically stop. You know what I mean? Nothing, that's just instincts. That's just like, okay, back on your grind now, so. And the good thing is, when clients come to me, I get it out of them. I'm like, why? I tell them, why do you need a personal trainer? Why hasn't it worked before? You know what I mean? What can I do that you haven't done already that hasn't worked? And then when they break it down and I really get it out of them, then we can move forward. So it's very important. If you don't ask them why they're doing it, they don't know. So I always explain what why we eat certain types of food, what it does to your body when we're training, what muscle group we work in, why we're doing it this way, and why form and technique is so important, in terms of injury prevention. So I always explain why I'm doing something. I don't just do it because at the end of the day, we want our clients to be able to train when we're not there. Even when they finish training, like with us, we want them to go, even if they're on holiday, and they're confident to use a gym, just confidently, and they can use it safely.
Yeah, no, and I think that's a sort of perfect way to really sort of end this episode there, Jason. So I mean, So really, it's just a case with this is, I think the real overriding message here is to take this process slowly. Don't try and rush this process. Try to learn the process. Try to enjoy the process. And you're going to get that by learning it and getting the knowledge from people that have been there so they can explain it to you in a way that you'll be able to actually do. And then when you can do it, you're going to get the results from it. And that's going to help it make it more enjoyable. So then you're more likely to be able to stay disciplined in it, to stay consistent in it, and you'll be able to keep motivated in it, which is the sort of 3 magic points that Jason sort of raises us there. So, no, I mean, that's really great stuff there, Jason. And yeah, just wanted to thank you for your time on this sort of like IG live here, which I'll put on my YouTube channel shortly as well. Unfortunately, Instagram has now changed the algorithm, so now these stories, now this live won't go on my sort of like IG story, unfortunately, but I'll have it up on my YouTube channel for people who have just joined. So you can check my sort of like YouTube channel link, which is on my page. But I'd like to urge people to follow Jason at GD_Pro_fitness on Instagram, and I'm sure Jason would sort of agree as well that if you guys sort of have any questions about sort of like physical fitness, you know, just little things that you're not sure about, we'd both be happy to sort of help and, you know, so give you a good steer to keep you going, because physical fitness is something that's going to help a lot of us through this time by keeping us in that routine, as Jason has pretty much like explained throughout this live here. So thanks for that. And that's the end of episode 12, this time featuring Jason, who is at JD_Pro_fitness on Instagram. So I'll speak to you later. I'll speak to you later, Jason, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Right?
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No problem.
Okay.